but they get a 4-1 win in St. Louis. The Blues still have a 4-point edge over the Blackhawks. I'll ask you that, because we talked about that series last year. St. Louis won the first 2 games, lost 4 straight against the Blackhawks. Do you feel better about Blues against Blackhawks this year? You felt good about the Blues last year going into that particular series. What gives you hope that without Ryan Miller and with Brian Elliott or Jake Allen, the Blues could win that series?
Maybe it's going back to the well, but Chicago has played so much hockey for so many years. I mean, who have they added to this club? They lost Nick Leddy. There's, Brandon Saad's a good young player.
But the Blues have had a staff.
Yeah, I think the Blues are just a better team. I don't want to look at the jerseys and say, well, Chicago will win because they have it at Stanley Cup.
Tarasenko's another year into stardom, but he wasn't that last year.
No, I agree. I still like saying
it's going to be a great series.
Yeah.
Hopefully it happens.
All right, what am I doing? Worst player here.
Yeah, sure.
Worst player. Now, we talked about Miss P, the soft-spoken Canadian-born Beagle, who won Best in Show, a big surprise, at the Westminster Kennel Club. So, while she was the worst, a Skye Terrier, while she was the best, a Skye Terrier, a standard poodle, and a Shih Tzu owned by Patty Hearst, also made it into the last ring, but Matisse, a Portuguese water dog, finished runner-up. Big-time favorite to win, and didn't do it.
You could put 5 different breeds in a police lineup, and I would not recognize a Portuguese water dog. What's a Portuguese water dog?
I don't know. I'm just reading this thing. I could give a worst player in hockey, but it's the worst dog today.
Best player, Brandon Dubinsky had a goal and assist last night. Columbus goes into Philly and beats them 5-2. If Philly wants to make the playoffs, and I would think they do, they need to win games like that and not lose 5-2 in games like that. But Columbus now 5 points behind the Flyers with 2 games in hand. And the Flyers, as we said, are only 6 points out of a playoff spot behind Boston. Everyone's Florida. What about Philadelphia? And they lose a game like that.
Philly has 1 regulation loss in their last 10. Right? I don't think, and Ron Hextall said this the other day, they're not doing nothing at the deadline. Like, they're not shelling. They're not giving away prospects to try to get into the 8th spot. It's just the group they have, and they had such a miserable start. But they're one of those teams you look, and I mean, no one's calling for them to blow it up because you have Giroux and Voracek, and right. So
that's best and worst. We can. By the way, we got about a minute. We can report good news for the young feller who's a sophomore at the University of Mississippi. Of course, he is. Who was studying abroad and decided to head out for the running of the Bulls in Pamplona, Spain. What an awful decision. He is out of intensive care. Now, here's the question. There's a series of photographs where the bull is just... He's already been gored and scratched a couple times, and his boxers are down almost below the crack in his butt. I'm thinking, was he mooning the bull? Did the bull's force knock down his show boxers to a level where he's like plumbing? He's a plumber that comes over to work on your toilet. What happened here? How did he had damage to his sphincter and back muscles? God. The best thing from the surgeon is it's not the worst injury I've seen, but it's the biggest goring wound I've ever had to operate on, said surgeon Enrique Crespo.
I know you have kids now, so maybe you're... But put yourself... So you're 25 years old. You have not yet met Mrs. Brady. Is there any adrenaline junkie seeking? Like, would you ever go to Pamplona and participate in the running of the Bulls?
No, but
why would you?
Because what's cowardly bones?
What's the best case scenario, and what's the worst case scenario?
Well, you're close to a bull. You get over the fence. The bull is charging right at you. Your adrenaline's flying.
So you get adrenaline.
You survive. You get over the fence so you don't get hit.
Right.
Why be a rodeo clown? You've been to the Calgary Stampede. What's the motivation?
I don't know.
Hey,
the downside is you get a horn up your ass.
On your ass might be worried. 3 hours surgery on your head.
You know how much that would cost?
I'm worried.
You ever see that picture of the horn like up the guy's leg?
No. I'm worried as much about the cost.
Who would do that?
I'm not even going to ride a bike again.
I don't know. 6:55 at 7:02. Here's our question for you. In the last 20 games, the Leafs have 2 wins, including a loss last night. This is the worst 20-game stretch in Leafs history. Is this the worst team in Leafs history? I don't know if you feel that way. What about you? It's -12 right now in Toronto. Let's check on your commute. Here's Elena Balkan.
A tough drive coming in from the east end this morning on that west